Marcus Chen stood in the cargo bay of Helios Gate Station, checking inventory on his datapad. The numbers glowed blue in the dim light. Around him, shipping containers stacked 3 high created narrow corridors of metal and shadow. He worked alone, just the way he liked it. 3 years had passed since the war ended. 3 years since the Terran-Vrexian border wars took everything from him. Marcus didn't think about those days anymore. He had learned to push the memories down, deep where they couldn't touch him. His life now was simple. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. No complications, no connections, no pain. "Chen, you got a minute?" A voice crackled through his comm unit. Marcus tapped his ear. "What do you need, Rodriguez?" Station Administrator Rodriguez sighed through the speaker. "Got a salvage job. Debris field in Sector 7. Standard recovery. Good pay." "Send me the coordinates," Marcus said. He was already moving toward the docking bay, where his small ship waited. "I could pair you with Stevens. No," Marcus cut him off. "I work alone." "Marcus, everyone needs a partner sometimes. It's safer, and—" "I said no." Marcus ended the transmission. He had this conversation once a month. Rodriguez meant well, but he didn't understand. Marcus had made a promise to himself the day he watched his unit die. Never again would he be responsible for someone else. Never again would he care enough to feel that kind of pain. The other workers on the station called him the Iceman. They said he had frost in his veins instead of blood. Marcus didn't mind. Better to be ice than to be broken. His ship, a small salvage vessel called the Nomad, hummed to life as he climbed aboard. The cockpit was clean and organized. Everything had its place. Marcus ran through the pre-flight checklist with practiced efficiency. Within minutes, he was undocking from Helios Gate and heading into the black. The debris field floated like frozen rain in the darkness of space. Marcus guided the Nomad through slowly, his scanners sweeping for anything valuable. Most of it was junk. Twisted metal, broken equipment, the remains of some cargo hauler that had met a bad end. Then his scanner caught something different. A life pod. Marcus frowned. Life pods usually meant bodies, usually meant someone didn't make it. He should mark the location and let station security handle it. That was protocol. But something made him guide his ship closer. The pod was small, silver, with strange markings he didn't recognize. Not human design. Marcus ran it through his database. Quillari. He had heard of them, but never seen one. The Quillari were rare out here on the frontier. They kept to themselves mostly, studied other species from a distance. His scanner showed a weak life sign inside. Marcus stared at the reading. Someone was alive in there. Barely. He should call it in, let someone else deal with it. That was the smart choice, the safe choice. His hand moved to the comm unit, then stopped. "Damn it," he muttered. He couldn't just leave someone to die, not even to protect himself. Marcus maneuvered the Nomad alongside the life pod and extended his docking clamps. The magnetic locks engaged with a solid thunk. He moved to the airlock and waited for the systems to equalize pressure. The life pod's hatch opened with a hiss. Inside was a being unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. She was small, maybe 5 feet tall, with pale skin that seemed to glow faintly from within. Her body was thin, fragile-looking, covered in what appeared to be soft robes, now torn and blood-stained. Her face was almost human in shape, but her eyes were larger, a deep violet color. Patterns of light moved beneath her skin like bioluminescent fish in deep water. She was unconscious and badly hurt. Burns covered her left side. A piece of metal was lodged in her shoulder. Marcus carefully lifted her. She weighed almost nothing. He carried her to the small medical bay on his ship and laid her on the table. His hands moved automatically, calling on old training from his military days. He cleaned the wounds, removed the metal, and applied synthetic skin. The whole time, the patterns under her skin flickered weakly, like a candle about to go out. When he finished, Marcus sat back and looked at her. She was still alive, but her breathing was shallow. He had no idea if he had helped or just delayed the inevitable. He set course back to Helios Gate and sent a message ahead. "Rodriguez, I'm coming in with an injured Quellari. Alert, medical." The response came quickly. "A Quellari out here? What happened?" "Don't know. Found her in a life pod. Debris field suggests her ship was destroyed. Bringing her to you now." Marcus guided the Nomad into the docking bay. Dr. Sarah Kim was waiting with a medical team. She had been his friend once, back when he still had friends. Now she was just the station doctor who sometimes tried to talk to him. They rushed the Quellari to the medical center. Marcus followed, not sure why. His job was done. He should go back to his quarters, file his report, collect his payment. But something kept him there. Dr. Kim came out an hour later. She looked tired. "She's stable," she said. "Barely." "Marcus, do you know anything about Quellari physiology?" "Nothing. They're empaths. They sense emotions from other beings. It's how they communicate partly, how they understand the world. Right now, she's too weak to shield herself. The emotional noise from everyone on this station is overwhelming her system. It's like trying to sleep while 1,000 people scream in your ear." Marcus understood immediately. She needs quiet. More than that, she needs isolation, but not complete isolation. Her people won't arrive for 3 weeks. Quellari need emotional connection to heal, but just one steady presence. Too many and it's chaos. Too few and they fade. Dr. Kim looked at him with knowing eyes. "Marcus, you're the only person I know who could help her." "No," Marcus said immediately. "You live alone. You keep your emotions locked down tighter than anyone I've ever met. You're exactly what she needs. A calm, controlled environment. One person. No emotional storms." "I can't." Marcus stepped back. "I don't do this anymore. I don't take care of people." "She'll die otherwise." "Then find someone else." Dr. Kim's voice softened. "Marcus, there's no one else." Kim's expression hardened. "There is no one else. You know this station. Everyone here is stressed, anxious, scared, angry. This is the frontier. It's chaos. You're the only one who has achieved perfect emotional flatness. I don't know how you did it, but right now, it's what saves her life." Marcus looked through the window into the medical room. The Quellari lay still on the bed. Her skin barely glowing now, just a soft, dying light. He had made a vow. Never again, never care, never be responsible. But he had also been a soldier once. He understood duty. 3 weeks, he said quietly. Then her people come, and this is over. 3 weeks, Dr. Kim agreed. Marcus didn't know it then, but he had just made the decision that would change everything. The walls he had built so carefully were about to meet someone who could sense every crack in their foundation. And 3 weeks was more than enough time for everything to fall apart. Marcus's quarters were small and organized like a military barracks. 1 bed, 1 desk, 1 chair. No decorations, no personal items, nothing that spoke of a life beyond mere existence. Now a medical cot had been added near the wall, and on it lay Giara. Dr. Kim had told him her name, Giara. It meant seeker of understanding in her language. She was a xenoanthropologist, someone who studied other species. Ironic, Marcus thought, that now a human was studying how to keep her alive. For the first 2 days, Giara slept. Marcus went about his routines, moving quietly through this space. He worked his shifts, came back, ate simple meals, and tried to pretend she wasn't there. But she was there, her soft breathing, the faint glow of her skin in the darkness, the presence of another living being in his carefully controlled world. On the 3rd day, she woke up. Marcus was at his desk when he heard her stir. He turned to see her violet eyes open, looking around with confusion and fear. The patterns under her skin flickered rapidly, shifting from dim blue to anxious yellow. "You're safe," Marcus said. He kept his voice flat, calm. "You're on Helios Gate Station. I found you in a life pod." Giara's eyes focused on him. She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. "Don't move," Marcus said. "You're still healing." She spoke then, her voice soft and musical. "I understand your language. We study humans." She paused, breathing hard. "My ship? Destroyed. You were the only survivor I found." The light beneath her skin turned a dark purple, almost black. Grief, Marcus realized. He had seen enough grief to recognize it, even in an alien. "My colleagues," she whispered, "all gone." Marcus said nothing. What could he say? He knew what it felt like to be the only one left. They never did. Giara was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked at him again. Really looked at him. "You are interesting. I'm just the person who found you." "No." She tilted her head. "You are empty, like a room with all the furniture removed, but not naturally empty, deliberately empty." Her bioluminescent patterns shifted to a curious green. "You hurt yourself to become this way." Marcus tensed. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I am an empath," Giara said gently. "I sense emotions. Most beings are like music, melodies of feeling. You are silence, chosen silence. It must have been so loud once, what you carry, that you had to bury it all." "You should rest," Marcus said, turning back to his desk. "Thank you," she said softly, "for saving me, for giving me quiet when I needed it." Marcus didn't respond. He focused on his work reports, but the words blurred on the screen. No one had seen through him like that in years. It was uncomfortable, invasive. He didn't like it. The days developed a rhythm. Marcus would wake, check on Giara, prepare simple food they could both eat. He'd go to his shift while she rested. He'd return, and they'd exist in the same space, mostly silent. But Giara was not good at silence. She asked questions about Earth, about humans, about the station. Marcus answered in short sentences at first, giving minimal information. But she had a way of asking that made him continue. She was genuinely curious, not just making conversation. She wanted to understand. "Why do humans live alone?" she asked one evening. "My people, we live in family groups, always together. The thought of being alone is frightening." "Some humans like being alone," Marcus said. "But you don't. You need it, which is different." Her skin glowed a soft amber. "You need it like medicine. Like isolation is the only thing keeping you together." Marcus set down his food. "You don't know me." "I know pain when I sense it," Giara said. "I know what it feels like when someone is carrying too much. In my culture, we share burdens. We let others help carry the weight. You humans, you try to carry everything alone. It's both strong and sad." "We survive," Marcus said. "Yes." Giara's eyes were gentle. "You survive things that would break my people completely. That was why I was here, studying, trying to understand how humans endure such trauma and keep functioning. You are remarkable, and tragic." Something in Marcus's chest tightened. He stood abruptly. "I need to check the air filters." He left his own quarters and stood in the corridor outside, breathing hard. This was a mistake. He should have said no to Dr. Kim. 3 weeks suddenly felt like forever. But when he returned, Giara was asleep. Her skin glowed soft white, peaceful. And despite himself, Marcus felt relief that she was still alive, still there. The next week passed faster. Giara grew stronger. She could sit up, walk slowly around the small quarters. Her bioluminescent patterns became brighter, shifting through colors Marcus was learning to read. Blue for calm, green for curiosity, amber for contentment, yellow for anxiety. She told him about her research, about how her team had been studying human veterans, trying to understand post-traumatic stress. They had discovered something important, she said, but she wouldn't tell him what. Not yet. Marcus found himself talking more about Earth, about his childhood in New Singapore, about the food he missed, the rain, the night markets, small things, safe things, nothing about the war. One night, Giara asked directly, "You were a soldier." Marcus nodded. Something terrible happened. Marcus was silent for a long time. Finally he spoke. "I lost my whole unit. 15 people. I was in command. I made a call. The wrong call." His voice was flat, emotionless. "They died. I lived. That was 8 years ago." "And you decided never to care again," Giara said softly. "So it could never hurt that much again." "Yes." "Does it work?" "I don't know anymore." Giara's skin glowed a warm gold. Later, Dr. Kim would tell him that color meant compassion, deep understanding. "I think," Giara said carefully, "that you humans believe caring is weakness, but from what I've studied, it's your greatest strength. You care so much it breaks you, and then you keep going anyway. That's not weakness. That's terrifying strength." Marcus didn't answer. But that night, for the first time in 3 years, he didn't have the nightmare about the battle. He slept straight through, and in the morning, Giara's presence in his quarters didn't feel like an intrusion anymore. It felt almost like coming home. 2 weeks into Giara's stay, Marcus returned from his shift to find her standing by his small window. She was looking out at the stars, her bioluminescent skin shifting through patterns of deep purple and silver. Sad colors. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked, surprising himself with how much he cared about the answer. Giara turned to face him. Her large violet eyes held something heavy. "I need to tell you something. The truth about why my ship was attacked." Marcus set down his work bag and sat at the desk, giving her his attention. "My research team wasn't just studying human trauma," Giara began. "We were investigating something specific. Reports of human veterans being kidnapped from frontier colonies. Not many, just a few here and there. Easy to miss or dismiss." "Kidnapped? By who?" "We didn't know at first, but we traced the pattern. Found evidence." Giara's skin flashed anxious yellow. "There's a group, mercenaries and rogue scientists. They're studying human psychological resilience. They want to understand how humans can function through trauma that would destroy other species. They want to weaponize it." Marcus felt cold. Weaponize trauma? They want to create soldiers who can't break, who can witness horror and keep fighting, who feel no fear, no doubt, no pain. Giara's hands trembled. "They're experimenting on your people, Marcus, trying to break them down and rebuild them. Most subjects don't survive. Those who do, they're not themselves anymore." "You have proof of this?" Giara tapped her temple. "In my neural implants, all our research data. That's why they attacked us. We got too close, discovered too much. They killed my crew and tried to destroy all evidence. They don't know I survived." Marcus stood and paced the small room. His mind was already working tactically. The old soldier in him waking up. "Why didn't you tell station security?" "I don't know who to trust. These people have resources, connections. If I give this to the wrong person, the data disappears. I disappear." Giara looked at him directly. "I'm telling you because you're the only one I trust. You saved me when you didn't have to. You've protected me." And she hesitated. "I can sense your intentions. You're truly good, Marcus. Buried under all that pain and ice, you're good." Marcus stopped pacing. "What do you want me to do?" "Help me get this information to the right people. Help me stop this. Other humans, other veterans like you, they're being hunted and hurt. I came out here to understand your people. Now I need your help to protect them." It was a mission. A real mission. The first one Marcus had cared about in 3 years. He could feel something cracking inside him, the walls he'd built starting to crumble. "I'll need to contact some people," Marcus said slowly. "Old military contacts. People I haven't spoken to since I left." "You'll do it?" Giara's skin brightened to hopeful gold. Marcus looked at her, this small alien who had somehow gotten past every defense he had. He'd made a vow to never care again, to never be responsible for another life. But here he was, caring. Here he was, ready to fight for her. "Yeah," he said, "I'll do it." Giara smiled, and her whole body glowed warm amber. "Thank you." That night, Marcus sent encrypted messages to 3 people from his past. Commander Lisa Park, who had served with him before the incident, tech specialist Raymond Okonkwo, who owed him a favor, and Captain James Wu, his former commanding officer, who had tried for years to bring Marcus back into service. The responses came within hours. They'd help. They'd come. But 2 days later, everything went wrong. Marcus was in the cargo bay, meeting with Commander Park, when the station alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Rodriguez's voice came over the speakers, tight with tension. "All personnel, we have unauthorized ships approaching. They're not responding to hails. Security teams to defensive positions." Marcus and Park exchanged looks. "That was fast," Park said. Marcus's blood ran cold. "Giara." He ran, through corridors, past panicking civilians, past security teams mobilizing. His quarters were in the residential section, level 7. His legs burned. His heart pounded. The vow he'd made, never care, never be responsible, was shattered completely. All he could think was, "She's alone, she's vulnerable, I have to get there." He reached his quarters to find the door forced open. Inside, 2 figures in combat armor were pulling Giara from the corner where she'd hidden. She was fighting, her small fists hitting armored chests uselessly. Her skin flashed bright yellow-white in terror. He launched himself at the nearest one. Years of combat training took over. He used the attacker's size against him, redirecting momentum, finding gaps in the armor. A strike to the neck joint, a kick to the knee. The first mercenary went down. The second one swung at Marcus. He ducked, but the armored fist clipped his shoulder, sending pain shooting down his arm. Marcus grabbed a metal chair and swung it like a bat. The mercenary stumbled back. "Go!" Marcus shouted at Giara. "Get to security." But Giara didn't run. She pressed herself against the wall, her eyes wide. Patterns of light cascading across her skin in waves of fear and something else. Something Marcus couldn't read. The second mercenary charged. Marcus braced himself, but then the door burst open again. Commander Park and 2 security officers rushed in. Within seconds, both mercenaries were subdued. More security arrived. The mercenaries were dragged away. Park was talking rapidly into her comm, coordinating with station defense. Marcus barely heard her. He went to Giara, who was shaking. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. Then, surprisingly, she reached out and touched his face. Her hand was cool, soft. "You came back. You fought for me." "Of course I did," Marcus said. The words came automatically, honestly. Giara's skin shifted to a color he'd never seen before. Deep rose gold, warm and bright. "Marcus," she said softly, "do you know what you just did? Saved you? You cared, truly cared, enough to fight, enough to risk yourself." Tears filled her violet eyes. "This is what I was studying. This is what makes humans remarkable. You can be so broken, so determined never to feel again, but when it matters, when someone needs you, you choose to care anyway. You choose to be vulnerable. That's strength beyond anything my people possess. Not from the fight, from something else. From the realization that his vow was truly broken. That he cared about this alien, cared deeply, and it terrified him. But it also felt right. Station security managed to drive off the attacking ships, but everyone knew it wasn't over. The mercenaries would be back. Ziara's people were still a week away. That night, as they secured new quarters with better protection, Ziara made her offer. "Come with me," she said. "When my people arrive, come to Quillari space. Help me present this research. Help me create programs to protect human veterans. Use what you've learned, what you've survived, to help others." Marcus looked at her, this small glowing being who had seen through all his walls. A week ago, he would have said no immediately. Now he found himself considering it. "That's a big ask," he said. "I know, but I think you need purpose, Marcus. Real purpose. Not just survival. Not just existing. Living." Marcus thought about his vow. About 3 years of ice and emptiness. Then he thought about the last 2 weeks. About talking, sharing, caring. About feeling alive again, even if it hurt. "I'll think about it," he said. Ziara's skin glowed soft gold. "That's enough, for now." The attack changed everything. Rodriguez locked down the station and called for military support. Commander Park took charge of security. Captain Wu arrived on a fast frigate with a full combat team. Marcus found himself in the middle of a war council, something he'd avoided for 3 years. "They'll come back," Captain Wu said, studying tactical displays. "They know the Quillari ship arrives in 6 days. They'll make their move before then." "How many ships do they have?" Park asked. Wu shook his head. "Unknown. We interrogated the 2 mercenaries you captured. They're hired muscle, don't know the big picture. But someone is funding this operation heavily. Military-grade weapons, advanced tech. This isn't small time." Marcus stood apart from the group, arms crossed. He was listening, but old instincts were stirring, reading the tactical situation, seeing the gaps. Ziara sat nearby, her presence now known to station leadership. Kim had examined her neural implants and confirmed the data was intact. The evidence against the people experimenting on humans was solid. They just needed to keep Ziara alive long enough to deliver it. "We should move her off station," suggested Rodriguez. "Hide her somewhere in the asteroid field." "They'll track any ship that leaves," Park countered. "We need to fortify here." "Or we use her as bait," a voice said. Everyone turned. Marcus had spoken. Captain Wu raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Marcus moved to the tactical display. "They want Ziara and the data. We can't hide her effectively, and we can't run. So we make them come to us on our terms. We leak information that she's being moved to a secure location in the station's core. Set a trap. When they make their move, we're ready." "You want to use her as bait?" Dr. Kim looked horrified. "I want to end this," Marcus said. He looked at Ziara. "It's your life we're risking." Ziara stood. Her skin flickered through several colors before settling on determined blue-green. "I agree. These people killed my crew. They're hurting humans. This ends now." Over the next 2 days, they prepared. Captain Wu's team set up defensive positions. They chose the old storage complex in the station's lower levels. Multiple access points they could monitor. Good sightlines, strong cover. They spread rumors through the station that Ziara was being moved there for safety. Marcus worked alongside Wu's soldiers. It felt strange at first, being part of a team again, but also familiar, natural. These people trusted him, looked to him for insight. He had been a good commander once before everything went wrong. "You've still got it," Park said, watching him coordinate defensive positions. The tactical mind, the leadership. "We missed you, Marcus." "I'm just helping until this is over," Marcus said. "Are you?" Park gave him a knowing look. "Because from where I stand, you're back. Maybe not in uniform, but back." The night before the trap was set, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat in the temporary quarters they'd given him, cleaning his sidearm. Ziara knocked softly and entered. "Can't sleep either," she said, sitting across from him. Her skin glowed soft silver in the dim light. "Worried?" Marcus asked. Terrified, she admitted. My people were not warriors. Violence is rare for us. This fear you feel before battle, you humans are used to it. I'm not. Marcus set down his weapon. Being used to it doesn't make it easier. You just learn to function through it. Like you function through pain, Giara said, through loss, through guilt, you just keep going. Sometimes that's all you can do. Giara was quiet for a moment. Why did you agree to help me? Really? You could have said no when Dr. Kim first asked. Marcus considered the question. I don't know. Maybe some part of me knew that my vow was killing me slowly. Maybe I needed a reason to break it. And now, do you regret breaking it? Marcus looked at her. No, it hurts again, caring. I'm terrified something will go wrong tomorrow, that I'll fail to protect you, that I'll lose someone again. But, he paused, searching for words, I feel alive. For the first time in 3 years, I feel alive. Ziara's skin turned that warm rose gold color. Marcus, in my culture we have a concept. Translated roughly, it means heart friend. Someone who sees your true self and doesn't turn away. Someone whose presence makes you more yourself, not less. You are my heart friend. Marcus felt something warm in his chest. I don't know what I am to you, but you've changed me. Changed everything. You deserve to be changed. To be more than your pain. The next day came too fast. They moved Giara into the storage complex, making it obvious. Captain Wu's team was positioned throughout the area, hidden but ready. Marcus was with Giara in the central room, along with Park and 4 soldiers. The wait was agonizing. Hours passed, then the alarms rang. Multiple breaches. Wu's voice came through comms. They're coming in force. 4 entry points, at least 20 hostiles. The battle was quick and brutal. The mercenaries were professionals, well-equipped and coordinated. But Wu's team had the advantage of position and preparation. Firefights erupted through the storage complex. Energy weapons lit up the darkness. Marcus stayed with Giara, weapon ready. 2 mercenaries broke through into their room. Marcus dropped the first with 3 shots. The second fired back, and Marcus felt searing pain across his ribs. He stumbled, but kept firing. Park took down the second mercenary. You're hit. I'm fine, Marcus growled. He could feel blood soaking his shirt, but it wasn't critical. Not yet. More mercenaries pushed through. Marcus and Park held the doorway. Behind him, Ziara crouched, her skin flashing bright white with terror. But she didn't scream, didn't panic. She trusted them. Fall back, Wu's voice crackled through comms. Everyone to Rally Point Alpha. They retreated through a side corridor, Marcus covering their withdrawal, despite the burning pain in his side. They reached the rally point where Wu's team had consolidated. The mercenaries were pulling back, regrouping. They're going for a final push, Wu said. All or nothing. Marcus checked his weapon. He was running low on ammunition. His side was bleeding badly now. He could feel himself getting weaker. Then he saw it. A mercenary with a launcher, aiming at their position. One shot from that, and they'd all be dead. Marcus didn't think. He ran. Across open ground, shots pinged around him. His legs felt like lead. But he reached the mercenary, tackling him just as he fired. The launcher shot went wide, exploding harmlessly against the far wall. Marcus and the mercenary fought hand to hand. Marcus was injured, slower. But he was fighting for something. Someone. He thought of Giara's glowing skin, her gentle questions, her offer of a new life. He won. Barely. When Wu's team secured the area and the remaining mercenaries fled or surrendered, Marcus collapsed. Park caught him, calling for Dr. Kim. The last thing Marcus saw before consciousness faded was Giara's face above him, tears streaming down her cheeks, her skin a swirl of terrified yellow and desperate gold. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please, Marcus, stay with me." He wanted to tell her he would, that he'd broken his vow for her, that maybe, just maybe, he'd found something worth living for. But darkness took him before the words could come. Marcus woke to soft light and the gentle hum of medical equipment. His side ached, but the pain was manageable. He turned his head and saw Giara sitting beside his bed, her skin glowing soft blue-green. When she saw his eyes open, the color shifted to bright gold. "You're awake!" She reached for his hand carefully. 3 days. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Marcus's throat was dry. Water? Giara helped him drink. Dr. Kim appeared, checking his vitals and nodding with satisfaction. "You're tougher than you look," Dr. Kim said, "though you lost a lot of blood. If we'd gotten to you a minute later—" She shook her head. "Rest. You need to heal." Over the next days, as Marcus recovered, he learned what had happened. The mercenaries were defeated. Several were captured and talking, giving up information about the organization behind the experiments. Captain Wu had sent the details up the chain of command. A full military investigation was opening. Most importantly, Giara's people had arrived. The Quelari ship was beautiful, Marcus learned when he was finally allowed visitors. Sleek and organic looking, with bioluminescent panels that matched Giara's skin. 3 Quelari delegates came to visit Marcus in the medical bay, their skin patterns respectful and grateful. "You saved our researcher," the eldest one said, speaking through a translation device. "You protected her with your life. This is a debt we cannot easily repay." "I don't want repayment," Marcus said. "Just keep her safe." Giara had been quiet through the visit. After the delegates left, she stayed. "I have to go," she said softly, "back to Quelari space, to present my findings, to testify against the people who did this." "I know," Marcus said. "Come with me." The offer hung in the air. Marcus had been thinking about it since he woke up, about what waited for him if he stayed. His empty quarters, his solitary routines, his half-life. "What would I do there?" he asked. Giara's skin brightened. "Help me. Help us understand humans better. Not to exploit, but to help. Create programs for veterans dealing with trauma. Combine what my people know about emotional healing with human resilience. Build something new." She leaned forward. "You said you feel alive again. Don't go back to just existing, Marcus. Live. Really live." Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I want conditions." "Anything? Not just Quelari helping humans. Humans helping Quelari too. An exchange program. Your people can teach us about emotional processing. We teach you about endurance, about functioning through crisis. Both species learn from each other." Giara's whole body glowed bright. "Yes, perfect. That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. And not all want to bring other veterans, people who are struggling like I was. Give them purpose too. New missions." "Yes," Giara said again. Marcus looked down at his hands. "I'm broken, Giara. Maybe less than I was, but still broken. I don't know if I can be what you need." "You're not broken," Giara said firmly. "You're scarred. That's different. Scars prove you survived something that should have destroyed you. Your scars, Marcus, they're maps. They can help others navigate their own pain." Something in Marcus's chest eased. A weight he'd been carrying for so long began to lift. "Okay," he said. "I'll come with you." The next 2 weeks were busy. Marcus worked with Captain Wu and Commander Park to identify veterans who might benefit from the program. He coordinated with Giara's people on establishing the exchange. He filed endless reports and sat through debriefings about the mercenary attack. But through it all, he felt purpose, hope. The day before departure, Marcus stood in the observation deck of Helios Gate, looking at the stars. Rodriguez found him there. "Never thought I'd see you leave," the administrator said. "You were like a fixture around here, permanent." "I was hiding," Marcus said, "pretending it was a life." And now? Marcus thought about Giara, waiting for him on the Quillari ship, about the work ahead, about the veterans who would come after him, finding their own paths through the darkness. Now I'm living, he said. Rodriguez smiled. Good for you, Chen. Send a postcard from alien space. Marcus actually laughed. When had he last laughed? The Quillari ship was unlike anything Marcus had experienced. Organic corridors that seemed to breathe, soft light everywhere. Quillari crew members whose skin shifted through rainbow patterns when they communicated with each other. Giara gave him a tour, showing him where he'd stay, where they'd work. Her excitement was infectious, her skin bright with joy. Scared? She asked him later, as they stood in an observation bubble, looking back at Helios Gate. Terrified, Marcus admitted, but good terrified. The kind that means you're doing something that matters. That's how I feel too, Giara said. Her skin turned that warm rose gold again. Thank you, Marcus, for choosing to care again, for choosing to hope. Marcus watched the station grow smaller. Somewhere on that station, he'd made a vow to never care again, to never let anyone close, to never risk the pain of loss. He'd kept that vow for 3 years. Breaking it was the best decision he'd ever made. 4 months later, Marcus stood in a lecture hall on the Quillari homeworld, translators allowing him to speak to an audience of medical students. Holographic displays showed the new trauma treatment centers being built, the exchange programs launching, the veterans finding new purpose. Giara stood beside him, her skin glowing proud blue. Behind them images cycled through, human veterans working with Quillari therapists, Quillari researchers learning human resilience techniques, mixed teams developing new approaches to healing. What humans call weakness, Marcus told the students, is often our greatest strength. We care even when it hurts. We connect even when we're afraid. We protect even when we're broken. That's not despite our trauma, it's because of it. We know pain, so we fight to prevent it in others. After the lecture, a young Quillari approached. Is it true you vowed never to care again? Yes, Marcus said. What made you break that vow? Marcus looked at Giara. Someone saw through it, saw that the vow was protecting me from living, not protecting me from pain. Sometimes you need someone who sees the world differently to show you what you can't see yourself. That night, Marcus and Giara sat in the garden outside the research center they'd built together. The Quillari sky was strange and beautiful, 3 moons casting silver light. Do you miss Earth? Giara asked. Sometimes, Marcus admitted, but this feels right. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. Destiny, Giara said softly. What? My people believe in it, that certain lives are meant to intersect, that certain choices reshape everything. Her skin shifted through gentle patterns. I was meant to find you, Marcus. You were meant to save me. Not just my life, but my work. And I was meant to save you too. Marcus thought about the man he'd been, the Iceman, emotionally frozen, just existing. Then he thought about who he was becoming, a teacher, a healer, a bridge between species. You did save me, he said quietly. You showed me that being broken doesn't mean being useless, that caring isn't weakness, that there's strength in choosing hope, even when everything says to give up. Giara reached over and took his hand. Her touch was warm. We saved each other, she said. That's what heart friends do. Above them, the 3 moons shone down on a human veteran who'd learned to care again, and an alien researcher who'd shown him how. Together, they'd built something beautiful from their shared pain. Together, they'd found purpose. And in finding purpose, they'd both found home. The cold vow Marcus had made, to never care, never connect, never risk the pain, had been replaced by a warm truth. Caring was what made life worth living. Connection was what gave pain meaning. And sometimes, the person who reshapes your destiny comes from a world you never expected, with skin that glows like hope in the darkness. Marcus had made a new vow now, one he whispered under those alien moons. To always choose warmth over cold. To always choose connection over isolation. To always choose hope over fear. Because that he'd learned was what it truly meant to be human.